Today we're going to be installing a new radar detector in the R8 with some hardware from BlendMount. We'll be doing this to all my cars, but this video here is focused on how to do it for a Gen 2 Audi R8. We've got a unit in R7, we got some mounts from BlendMount, and we have a MirrorTap to wire it in. So let's start. I've got everything laid out here. I did go ahead and buy a new unit in R7. It's been many years since I bought a new radar detector. This one's been pretty well rated. It used to have a Escort Max 360, but decided to give this unit in a try. Lift her up, brand new nice carrying case here. Everything is brand new, still wrapped up. The suction mount won't be needing that. Got the radar detector here, nice little case. So I've got one radar detector, I have multiple mounts for the different cars, I can just move this in between them if I need to. We've got the blend mounts here, so they're all machine anodized aluminum, really nice quality, a lot of adjustability. They vary in terms of design depending on the vehicle they're going in because different vehicles have different mirrors, and obviously the radar side mount might vary a bit too. So you can go on the BlendMount website and just enter in your year, make, model, and it'll tell you which one to order. This one is for the R8, that's for the Corvette, that one's for the Shelby. Same thing with the MirrorTaps, right? We've got this one, I think this is for the Corvette, and those two are for the Mustang and the R8. Make sure you use my discount link that's in the description below. So this one is the mount for a Gen 2 R8 matched up to a Uniden R7. We have installation instructions, you can go through that. It is fairly straightforward as long as you follow step by step. Just look through that. So we will actually do the MirrorTap first. Once this is connected in, wired in for power, then we'll hook up the actual metal mount. It's easier that way. I'll show you once we're in the vehicle. You're gonna wanna angle the mirror down, and on the R8, there's these two little tabs up here. You squeeze those in and kind of gently pull down, and then we pop that out. All right, you're gonna use a little bit of force, not too much, but make sure you press in on the sides here so these tabs can release, and you just slide that off without breaking anything. That's the important part, right? Once we have the cover off, you'll see this connector here with a lot of wires going in and out. There's two of them that we are going to have to tap in with the black and red on this side of the MirrorTap. This side hooks up to the radar detector. This side wires in. And we want to do the switched power because when you turn the car off, this will turn off power, and that means your radar will turn off too, because you don't want the radar detector just sitting there sapping away power and draining from your battery. So I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this just by pulling out. There we go. And you'll see all these wires here. In the bottom left corner, that brown one, that's gonna be our ground. So the black goes in there. And then the top left corner, that's our switch 12-volt power. The red one will go in there. You'll see the instructions right here. They give you some overall tips and tricks, things that are important. Do not use excessive force to put them in, but the black prong wedges against the ground wire. The red prong wedges against the 12-volt switched wire. That's the power one. So this one's pretty simple. We've got the red and the black. So red goes in top left corner against that black and yellow one for the R8, and then the bottom left-hand corner brown is going to be the black ground wire. You'll see the bottom left with the black prong tapped in for ground. The top left is the red switched power, so everything is connected there. And now we're going to go ahead and plug in the radar detector just to make sure power is working properly before we close up everything. All right, so we have our wire tap connected. I grabbed the suction mount just to be able to hold the radar detector up because I do not have enough hands to both hold the radar up, plug it in, and also ignition on. So the car is currently powered off. We'll go ahead and plug the radar in. It's wired in, and we're gonna go ignition on. And the radar is firing up. Self-test.
K-band. K-A band. Laser.
Perfect. All right, so that, we're just confirming right now that we did in fact insert the wire tabs properly. It is getting power, that is functioning. Vehicle's in ignition on. Now if we turn the vehicle off, the radar turned itself off. It is asleep, which means it is hooked up to the switched power. So when the car turns off, it is not draining anymore. That is exactly what we wanted. So those are the two pin positions. Now I don't need the suction mount anymore. Remember, this is just for testing. Now we need to install the actual hard mount, which hooks onto the mirror stem back there. All right, we came back inside where the lighting is better because we do need to do a little bit of disassembly of the mount in order to install it. So there's a spring-loaded clip back here. There's a rotation adjustment, so there's two little screws right there, and also this little like squishy padding right there to protect the top of your radar detector. So you can see how this adjusts here, but per the instructions, you can see right here, we have to remove the rotating adjustment screw so we can separate the body assembly from the top part that clamps onto the mirror. Because we have to install that first and then screw it back in together, adjust everything we want for positioning, and we should be good to go. So the instructions make it pretty straightforward. So, first things first, we're gonna take this apart. You get some hardware with the actual blend mount. Looks like a zip tie, a couple extra rotating screws, extras. We got a couple little lock washer things, lock washer, and a little extra washer, and a little Allen key. So we're gonna go ahead and take this apart. All right, this one, the actual rotating one, looks like it has 2 washers. Keep those stacked on there carefully. The reason we have to disassemble is because we must access these to open up the actual clamp itself, and the actual body is in the way for this. So we have this top clamp part barely connected, so we have enough clearance to get the clamp part around the mirror stem here, and we want it as far forward as possible. So we want this to be as that way, away from you as possible, so it's as far back so it doesn't get in the way of rotating your actual mirror around that pivot point. Let's tighten off, that is pretty stable right there. So that's hooked in. Mirror range of motion seems fine. Okay, with this top part mounted on, we are now going to attach the actual body, the spring clip part, with those 2 little screws we have. So there we go. That's pretty solidly mounted. With that, let's line the radar detector up. So we push this clip down, and there you hear it click in. Perfect. But you see it's angled a little bit upwards. So that's not quite level, which is why there is that adjustment screw on the side. We can loosen that and make sure it's perfectly level. Then we're gonna go ahead and plug this in, tighten up the wire, put the cover back on, and then we should be good to go. So go ahead and loosen that angle adjustment screw, and now we can go back and forth. That looks fairly level. All right, angle the mirror back so where I normally have it. And then we would plug this in. There we go. So now the only last thing we want to do is clean up the cord, because we're going to put that cover back on the mirror. So we're going to just have this come out with enough where it's not dangling loose, but there's enough play where we can actually connect to the radar detector. And just like that, we have the radar detector installed, mounted, wiretap. I left a little bit of play on the wiretap cable, so we have the ability to unplug it here. It'll hang down or plug it in. I'm not like tugging on it, it's not super tight. And then you see I just tucked the wire right up there. So it's pretty clean. Everything clamped back together. Looks pretty good. Just my mirror again. And then we'll go ahead and power the car on. And the radar detector fires up and we are good to go.
K-A-band.
Yep, runs through everything. Alrighty, and we can turn the car off. That turns off. We will not be needing suction mounts anymore. That's not needed. The power cable that comes with the radar detector, we don't need that because everything is tapped in nice and clean, good to go. And just like that, we've got the radar detector installed in the R8, hard mounted to the rear view mirror using a blend mount, nice and solid, some good adjustability, and that means no more suction cups on your windshield. I hate the suction cups on a windshield. They leave marks, they can fall off sometimes. This is a much better solution. And power with the MirrorTap. As you saw, it's connected to the ignition. When you turn the car on, it gets power to the radar. When you turn the car off, it automatically cuts power. That is great. And it also means no more power cables, cords running across the interior of your car to wherever you have to plug it in. That's honestly even more annoying. So the MirrorTap plus the blend mount is a great combo. Use my discount code in the description below. I will include that link. Make sure you enter your year, make, model, because the actual design of the blend mount will vary depending upon your car and the mirror design and also the radar detector. You enter all that information and you'll be set for both the MirrorTap and the blend mount. Use my discount code in the link below. Hope you guys appreciate this video for the R8 install. Thanks for watching.